I'm Natasha Cloud. Along with my teammates and the entire Mystics organization, I'm a dedicated supporter of the gun safety movement. It's unacceptable to me that more than 100 people are killed and hundreds more are wounded by firearms in our country every day. And that so many Black and brown communities, including our own Ward 8 right here in DC, are disproportionately impacted. In 2 weeks, on Friday, June 4th, we have an opportunity to stand up for gun safety by commemorating the 7th National Gun Violence Awareness Day and the beginning of Wear Orange Weekend. Wear Orange is dedicated to honoring the hundreds of lives taken and forever changed by gun violence in America every single day. Why do we wear orange? In 2013, Hadia Pendleton, a 15-year-old high school student from Chicago, marched in President Obama's second inaugural parade. 1 week later, Hadia was shot and killed on a playground. Soon after this tragedy, Hadia's childhood friends decided to commemorate her life by wearing orange, the color hunters wear in the woods to protect themselves and others. Now we come together every year to honor what Hadia's friends started and to educate, organize, advocate, and rally for safer communities. Today, you'll hear from Hadia's family, artists, elected officials, and advocates who are all dedicated to honoring the stories of those whose lives were taken by gun violence and fighting to end this crisis.
We are Hadia's family. This is my mom, Cleopatra, my dad, Nate Sr., and I'm Hadia's brother, Nate Jr. I am 18 years old now, and on June 2nd, 2015, my sister would have been 18 years old. Instead, it was the very first National Gun Violence Awareness Day, which we now commemorate on the first Friday of every June.
This year, Hadia would have been 24 years old. A couple things I want you to know about 15-year-old Hadia. She was very smart, charismatic, silly, clumsy, and one heck of a majorette. And all that was stolen from us when she lost her life to senseless gun violence. And for that reason, our lives are forever changed. But one thing is for sure, Hadia was full of hope. And that's why Wear Orange means so much to us.
It's a time we come together nationwide to say there's more we can do to end gun violence. We remember Hadia and thousands of other lives that have been taken and have been altered. We want to honor them and their loved ones. So come join us in 2 weeks, June 4th, and help us do just that. Thank you.
We are here today at the National Building Museum to honor Wear Orange Day. Wear Orange Day started when the friends of Hadia Pendleton wore orange to honor her life after she had been killed at the age of 15 in Chicago. Since then, orange has been the color of this movement, a marking of how to celebrate one's life and raise awareness. It is this same impulse that inspired the work of Pam Bosley and Annette Nance Holt, co-founders of the organization Purpose Over Pain, who reached out to our team and Hank Willis Thomas to collaborate on this gun violence memorial project. Here you can see that Annette contributed objects on behalf of her son Blair. She wanted to include a CD that he produced himself because she wanted to celebrate his career and his passion and interest in going to school for music production. Pam contributed on behalf of Terrell a diorama. She was torn on how she could represent all of his passions and his interests. You can see music instruments, a basketball, and a photo of his family because these are things that he was passionate about and she wanted that to be communicated. As the design team responded to Pam and Annette's call for a memorial that would honor their sons and the loved ones of so many others, we immediately understood that we needed to be able to represent both the intimate and the infinite. How could we create a framework by which families of loved ones could co-build this memorial together? Here you can see that the house is composed of a white wood framework and glass walls. Each house has 700 bricks. 700 is the number of Americans that are killed on a weekly basis due to gun violence. and we wanted an opportunity for a framework where families could tell the stories of their loved ones by contributing a personal object. All of the bricks have a similar format in that we asked family members to contribute objects that they felt like best represented the passions, personalities, and interests of their family members, and then they have a name tag with the name as they want it represented, the year of the birth and the year of the death. This memorial is intended to grow, and so we invite anyone that wants to participate to do so. You can start by wearing orange, or of course you can visit the exhibit here in DC. We know that gun violence is a story that touches every corner in America. Our hope with this memorial is to honor those lives that have been taken and inspire others to take action towards ending this epidemic.
People come to the gun safety movement through many different doors. Your path was the hardest I can ever imagine. Can you share with us how you joined this fight?
Well, first and foremost, I never expected to be in this fight. But my son Jordan and his friends were simply playing loud music in their car. You know, our case was the national loud music killing in Jacksonville, Florida. And the boys were simply out the day after Thanksgiving on Black Friday, going from one mall to the next. They stopped at a convenience store gas station just for 3.5 minutes. In those 3.5 minutes, a man named Michael Dunn comes along, parks beside them, and racially profiles them and calls them gangbangers and thugs. And he started a verbal altercation with all the boys, but in particular, my son Jordan. And within those 3.5 minutes, he took out his gun out of his glove box and shot 10 rounds into the car and simply drove away.
Lucy, you know I have 2 daughters, and whenever I hear your story of how Jordan was killed, and whenever I think about the courage that you've brought to bear to this issue in translating your own tragedy and grief into action, I'm just always in awe, quite frankly. Something I've probably said to you so many times, but it's always true.
Every time you say
it's always
that,
true, but as somebody who's lost a child, tell us about what Wear Orange means to you.
Well, Wear Orange is extremely significant to me. It's symbolic. First and foremost, of all the lives that have been lost unnecessarily to gun violence in America. But secondly, because of what the color orange means. Hunters, when they're out hunting in the woods, wear orange to signify to one another, don't shoot, I'm here. And so the fact that we are memorializing all the victims across the country that have been killed unnecessarily, we wear orange to identify that we don't forget, and that we as victims, as survivors, as family members, lawmakers, as state and local officials, we wear orange to signify the movement that we have created and are invested in to save as many lives as we possibly can, and to build that sense of community, one person at a time, so that we're all protected from unnecessary gun violence.
Yeah, we're both wearing orange right now, and I always think of it as just a way of raising your hand and saying, we don't want to live like this.
Exactly.
This isn't normal.
Exactly. And we refuse to let any more people die so tragically.
You and I walked through the memorial together this morning, and I think we both sort of gasped several times, and I know I was holding back some tears. And I know you live with the memory of Jordan every day, and you brought something to add to the memorial, something of Jordan's. It's a way of honoring him, but I wondered if you could share with us what you brought.
Well, absolutely, John. It's a picture that we have right here. I remember this day so vividly. I'd just given him a bath. And so, you know, taking him out of the bathtub and just holding him, and his father was there and said, let me take the picture of the two of you, look so cute. And I wanted to bring this picture today because it symbolizes just the pure essence of who he was as a human being. I choose to remember Jordan and celebrate him now. And so I choose to show his joy and who he was as an individual, because I try not to mourn too much, but to really celebrate him, because he's still with me every single day.
I wonder, when you talk to your colleagues in Congress about this issue, how do you talk about it? What do you say?
I speak to my colleagues as the mother, a mom on a mission. I want them to understand that people like me, we are not numbers, we are not statistics, we're real life human beings. And that these tragedies happen every single day, and they're happening in their very own communities, to their very own constituencies. And so I've come to Washington as a mother on a mission to remind the policymakers, to remind my colleagues who we are responsible to and who we are accountable to in terms of keeping them safe, enacting and passing those policies that will do that very thing. I want to remind them every single day that time is wasting. Over 100 people in this country die every single day because of our inability here in Washington to do the right thing. And so I want to be that little fly that flies around their head and buzzes around their head every single day to remind them we don't have time to waste. And gun safety policy is the right thing to do. And I'm expecting that they will stand with me and do the right thing.
And in fact, they have.
Yes.
From the moment you hit Congress, you were up there on the podium announcing the introduction of life-saving bills. It's remarkable.
I couldn't have done it without you.
Well, I don't know about that, but in many ways, Wear Orange is about honoring people. Mm-hmm. Certainly, it's about honoring Hadiya Pendleton, whose family and her friends really were the sort of the fuel behind Wear Orange. Mm-hmm. It was her friends who talked about Wear Orange and how powerful it could be. Mm-hmm. And it's honoring Hadiya. It's certainly a way of honoring Jordan. This picture, certainly another way of honoring Jordan. What about the gun safety movement gives you hope today?
I have a lot of hope. And I know people say to me, well, things aren't moving fast enough. But understanding that this is a culture we're having to change. It's a culture that, you know, it's a love affair with guns that's been evolving and growing for the last 25, 30 years. The NRA gun lobby has really, really placed a lot of time, invested interest in building this culture. And so what I say to people is that, you know, you have to have hope. You have to have hope because that's what we live for. That is the legacy that our loved ones have left us, the ones that have been taken from us. Our hope is that we're going to be able to protect others like them so that there are no others. So there are no other mothers like me or like Cleopatra, you know, Hadiya's mother, you know, or Trayvon's mother, or Eric Garner. I mean, we have to make sure that we are building a movement that everyone feels that they have a stake in. Because time is wasting, and each and every day that we don't enact sensible gun safety policy, people continue to die all around us.
And really, isn't that what this memorial is about? Isn't it what this picture of Jordan is about? Really touching the humanity of everybody who sees it, everybody who walks through this memorial?
It's a memorial so that we never forget. You know, for those of us that have lost our loved ones, their loss is with us every single day. John, I wake up, the first thing I remember every single day is that Jordan's not here.
Right, I'm sure. But it's also, it touches our humanity, and it's asking people to do what you've done, which is turn tragedy into action.
People say to me, well, I can't do what you do. You don't have to do what I do. Do what you can do in your own way. It all makes a difference.
Yeah. Well, everybody has to find their way of expressing themselves, but when it comes to you, all of us are just so in awe of what you're doing and inspired by what you're doing, because it's courage to the nth degree. So thank you, Lucy.
Thank you. Appreciate you so much.
Hello, I'm Shannon Watts, the founder of Moms Demand Action. First, I want to thank my friends Representative Lucy McBath and the Pendleton family for sharing the stories of their loved ones, Jordan and Haidia, who were taken by gun violence. I'd also like to thank our host, Natasha Cloud, the Washington Mystics Organization, and Monumental Sports and Entertainment, who continue to raise awareness around the impact of gun violence in our communities, and our partners Mass Design and the National Building Museum, who've been dedicated to lifting up the voices of those who have been impacted. If you're in Washington, D.C., we invite you to visit the Gun Violence Memorial at the National Building Museum. And if you've had a loved one taken by gun violence and wish to contribute to this incredibly powerful memorial, visit gunviolencememorialproject.org to learn more. So why do we wear orange? We wear orange to demand a future free from gun violence. Orange symbolizes the value of each person's life, and we wear it to honor those taken and wounded by gun violence, and to call for an end to this crisis. On National Gun Violence Awareness Day, on June 4th, I'll wear orange to honor the lives of those who have died and those who've survived, and to commit to taking action to end gun violence. I also wear orange because I know gun violence is preventable, and we can never stop demanding our lawmakers act to do everything in their power to stop it. This year's Wear Orange has never been more important. Gun violence didn't stop because of COVID. In fact, it worsened. In 2020, the number of people killed by gun violence exceeded 40,000, the highest rate of gun deaths in 2 decades. But as gun violence has grown, so too has the movement to stop it. We continue to educate, organize, advocate, and rally for safer communities. And make no mistake about it, we will win. So what can you do to support National Gun Violence Awareness Day? It's simple. On June 4th, wear something orange, take a selfie, and share it on social media with the hashtag #WearOrange. Be loud about your commitment to taking action to honor survivors and end gun violence. You can also join the Washington Mystics for a Wear Orange game they're hosting June 5th. To learn more about the campaign, or to find an event in your community, and to join the movement, visit wearorange.org. Together, we'll remember the millions of lives taken or changed by gun violence and demand action in their honor. Thank you.